Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can everybody hear me at the back there? Are you sure? I'm seeing, there we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the second anniversary of the Mauritius Africa Fintech Hub. We have a whole lineup for you today, which we're hoping to get done relatively quickly. But for us today, the whole point of today is not to showcase what MAFH has done or the fact that we're turning to. For us, what today is about is a collaboration, a working together, and a celebration of what we collectively are able to do, have achieved, and what we want to do going forward. So from our side, thank you very much for attending today. For the first time in our 2-year existence, we are live streaming this. So this is going out to quite a few countries abroad. So anybody who is out there, welcome and thank you for joining us today. I will be the good news and bad news today, ladies and gentlemen. The good news is that we are here to celebrate the movement of digitalization of the Mauritian economy, financial technology, and celebrate each other's successes. The bad news is that you're going to have to hear me for an hour being your MC over the next little while. Just in terms of housekeeping, firstly, with regards to the tickets, so the parking downstairs at security, they'll stamp it for you. It's free parking, and you can go on your way. Second one is, if you are joining us live, please can you mute, just in case we hear some weird noises on the background from Zoom sessions that you're attending. Secondly, the emergency exits, I have been assured, are well covered, but just in case, I've also been assured by unreliable sources that this is shatterproof glass, and if you don't mind a little bit of a swim, you can go straight through when emergency does arrive. So today we've got a little bit of a showcase around fintech. We've got representatives from some of our members, from MCB, from MIPS, from PAW, but I think to start off with, I would just like to say a big thank you to everybody who has been part of this journey with us, and being with us throughout this entire journey. I think it's important to realize that we can't do this alone. You know, any association, any network, any ecosystem, any country can only strive together if we work together and are as strong as their members. So from our side, when we're putting this together, we actually got to the 200th logo and page 9 of a PowerPoint slideshow. And then we looked at each other internally, we said, we can't cover everybody. You know, from Singapore to Australia to Tokyo to UK to Africa to Nigeria to Egypt. There's just so many people that have been part of this journey and have worked with us along the way. So what we did is we would just like to do a massive thank you to everybody from the bottom of our hearts and from the ecosystem perspective, because this is not a solo journey. The digitalization journey, we cannot do it ourselves. We, as a FinTech association, our goal is to be the catalyst, the facilitator, and for us to work ourselves out of a job so that everybody else can have one, which is, in our case, what we're hoping for you moving forward into the future. So I'd just like to point out a few special thanks, because every single stakeholder in the ecosystem is important. Okay? There is not only one stakeholder that's more important than others. And if we all work together, we are able to achieve our dream of making sure that Mauritius does become the fintech capital or fintech island for the African continent. So a big special thank you to all the government organizations and organizations, from the EDB, who we've worked very closely from the start, through to the BOM, the FSC, Ministry of Financial Services, who've been part of the journey, who are engaging with the private sector industry so that we can build a conducive environment for the private sector and for businesses to flourish. So a big thank you to them. A big thank you to all our members and partners, and there are a lot, ladies and gentlemen. There are a lot of members and a lot of partners, and unfortunately I can't go and thank each one of you one by one, but a big thank you from our side and from the community as a whole. Corporates who are part of the journey, the startups, academia, and I think it's important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that you'll see a little bit from the results of the research. You know, everybody that we've engaged from a fintech perspective has mentioned that skills, coding skills, technology skills are needed. Okay? Not only in Mauritius, across the continent as a whole. So getting academia part of the discussion is important to build the local ecosystem. When companies move here and are looking for particular skill sets, we need to be able to either attract the talent globally and bring them here, or in the medium to long term, build our own capacity on the ground where we are able to export our coders because they are viewed as right up there from the technological perspective in the rest of the world. So academia, thank you. We work with 7 universities, so from UOM to ALC, ALU to Middlesex. Thank you for engaging and working with us and having open discussions around what the curriculum looks like, how do we future-proof the jobs that haven't been created as yet. So thank you for being part of this journey. And all the other associations, and we have quite a few. So from Mauritius Bankers Association to Global Finance, there's a lot of people that have come together to make this possible. So once again, from my side, it's not just about us. It's not just about turning two. It's about the evolution of the Mauritian fintech ecosystem and how we can work together to make sure that we are relevant and we are the leaders on the continent moving forward. So without further ado, I'd just like to take you through kind of the lineup for today. We're going to have the opening address very shortly from the acting CEO of the EDB. We'll have some of our members showcasing and telling us their stories around some of their challenges and successes in the space that they're operating from. But before that, even we're going to have the PwC presenting their report. The first one of many that we will be doing, just to kind of highlight the opportunities that exist or the challenges that exist in an environment. And there's always going to be some challenges, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at Singapore, if you look at the UK, if you look at any other jurisdiction, there's always some challenges on the ground. But identifying those challenges, being open and honest and discussing them, we can overcome those challenges together. So thank you to PwC, who will be showcasing the first finding of the first report. The report will go live to the public in the next couple of weeks, and it will be freely available for everybody in the entire ecosystem, Africa and the world. After that, we will have Noha, who is the Vice Chair of the African Fintech Network, who will be dialing in from Egypt, and will be just on stage with us very briefly. And then we're going to close off, and after that is networking and a communication exercise downstairs. We're going to have a few of our members showcasing some of their technology and solutions that they have out there, and that'll be for about an hour afterwards, so we encourage everybody to engage with that. And now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome on stage Mr. Ken Punusamy, the acting CEO of the EDB, to come forward and do the opening address. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Let me say from the outset that the Mauritius Fintech Hub is very close to the Economic Development Board, given that 2 years ago, as mandated by government, we had laid its foundation by providing the initial seed capital and necessary support for its setting up. So it gives me a lot of pleasure today to see the tremendous progress that has been achieved. The operating name itself of the association, the Mauritius Fintech Africa Fintech Hub, connotes this desire to broaden and create synergies within this amazing continent, be it in terms of regulatory matters, exchange of information, knowledge transfer, broadening the circle of opportunities, among others. It therefore rejoices me a lot to commemorate together with you and celebrate the second anniversary of the Mauritius Africa Fintech Hub. Distinguished guests, in times of great distress and gloomy outlook, there's always somehow and somewhere a silver lining. That silver lining, in my opinion, has been the way in which fintech, digital technologies, and the cloud offering has been brought to the forefront during the COVID period. At a time when movement of people, mobility, access has been deeply challenged. In Mauritius, the association has indeed played a prominent role, and I'm pleased to note the various initiatives of the association throughout the year, as Michael has enumerated. First, the Mauritius Africa Fintech Hub has joined the Africa Fintech Network board as a member among South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt. Secondly, the association engaged in the process of bidding for the Africa Fintech Festival, and it has successfully won against other giants. The association has been selected to host the Africa Fintech Festival 2021 in Mauritius in February 2021. In fact, just to share with you some exchanges I had with Michael, at some point he came to us and said, this association that, would be gathered here would host around 2,000 people in Mauritius. My first question to him was whether we have the hotel capacity to accommodate and also the conference facilities to host such event. But I'm glad that this is the kind of things which we are working on, and I very much, from the EDB side, welcome such initiatives. Thirdly, the Mauritius Africa Fintech Hub has become an accredited fintech incubator with the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council, and figures among the very few fintech associations around the world to have achieved this status. Fourthly, in its quest to advocate for financial literacy and financial inclusion, the Mauritius Africa Fintech Hub has conducted more than 100 workshops, seminars, and training sessions in line with its skills development and education mandate, and even roll out a pilot with grassroots entrepreneurs to bring awareness and fintech solutions. And lastly, the association has commissioned a Mauritius Fintech Ecosystem Report on the ease of doing business for fintech activities, on the ever-evolving industry needs, while highlighting the challenges that should be addressed in the burgeoning arena. Distinguished guests, I said earlier, in these testing times, we have seen how fintech, digital technologies, and the cloud offering has been brought to the forefront. I would now like to talk a bit about the role of innovation plays in our ecosystem and how the digital strategy and fintech are bridging the gap, breaking barriers, and promoting inclusiveness. The history of Mauritius is one of adaptability, anticipating global changes, and taking the right steps to harness opportunities so that the economy continues to grow and develop. Indeed, Mauritius has made tremendous progress, transcending from a three-pillar economy, that is sugar, tourism, and textile, into a modern and robust economy revolving around 12 economic sectors, notably in manufacturing, agro-industry, financial services, ocean economy, ICT, real estate, hospitality, among others. Today, innovation and technology will be the key engines to drive higher productivity, ensure that our productive capacity is enhanced, and that we remain resilient and relevant in the face of global turmoil and harsh competitiveness. The widespread adoption of technology is revolutionizing the way business is being done across sectors, notably in the ICT sector, agro-industry, healthcare, and financial services. Agricultural technologies are increasingly being used to increase crop yields. Advancement in medical technology is playing a crucial role in sustaining health. Additionally, in the face of the current unprecedented times, when the whole world is facing strong headwinds surged by the global pandemic, it is technology that has been our ally in keeping us connected, and more importantly, in sustaining mankind. The evolution of the coronavirus itself was modeled for the use of sophisticated software, with the speed and outreach of the spread modeled through artificial intelligence. Mobile apps are being used for contact tracing. Mobile health applications have played an important role in mitigating the coronavirus disease. And we all witnessed how online supermarkets became the new normal during the pandemic. Additionally, we are all aware how fintech has shaped the future of the banking sector by reducing dependence on physical financial interactions and the need for cash. We nowadays carry the banks in our pockets through our smartphones. Fintech has also brought the financial services sector at the threshold of a new dimension. By all accounts, the future of finance is digital. I am saying this because the right enabling environment, use and deployment of technology, innovation and financial inclusion will take us far in terms of productivity gains, efficiency and resilience. Government has adopted a digital strategy which is rooted in sustainable innovation and has established the right framework to graduate the sophistication of the jurisdiction for innovative segments to be nurtured, including fintech activities. On the infrastructure side, Mauritius became the 8th most fibered country in the world in terms of connectivity, and the first in Africa for its 100% fiber coverage. And we remain the most mature African country when it comes to telecoms, according to the 2019 Africa Telecoms Maturity Index. The National Open Data Portal has been set up at the level of the Ministry of Information Technology and Innovation to house and provide links to the data sets of government agencies in an open format. This initiative empowers citizens and businesses for carrying out data-driven initiatives such as the development of mobile apps, data analysis, creation of innovative products, and research, among others. In addition, the Information Highway is also operational, which is designed as a service platform to allow multiple organizations to share data via data sharing e-services to other agencies. Soon, the National Authentication Framework will be launched, which is a government centralized authentication platform that caters for identity and access management, whereby citizens and non-citizens can transact conveniently and more securely with government. The main purpose of implementing the NAF is to provide a single authentication window to consumers accessing government e-services. MoCloud will be created to offer a platform for issuance and verification of documents and certificates in a digital way, and a certification authority will be set up by government to provide digital signatures. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital strategy also addresses the skill sets requirement. It aims to prepare the people for the digital economy and build on their digital talent through various programs and initiatives, namely the Digital Youth Engagement Program, postgraduate scholarship to provided in digital technology, blockchain, and big data. The Early Digital Learning Program is being implemented as part of the ongoing educational reforms to promote ICT-mediated pedagogy at school level. The main objective of the program is to develop digital literacy right at the beginning of the schooling life of the children. Furthermore, there's provision of masters in artificial intelligence and robotics by the Université de Mascara in collaboration with Université de Limoges and Université de Nice. The government is also engaged in providing full-fledged digital services across the board. This includes digitalization of more than 130 government services, including application for a business license, incorporation of a company, application for a learner's license, e-filing of returns of employees, e-auction services, e-filing of VAT returns, e-filing and e-payment of personal income tax, etc. 11 mobile applications have been launched, namely the Smart Police, Traffic Watch, Consumer Rights, Emergency Alerts, among others. There is also the introduction of the new cybersecurity legislation and adoption of blockchain in government level on a pilot basis with the Ministry of Housing and Lands. Finally, the Bank of Mauritius is currently implementing the National Payment Switch system in Mauritius, which aims at promoting a cost-effective payment system which will ensure the protection of consumers and enable all players to operate on a level playing field. My point this morning in enumerating these initiatives in the digital space is to show that with the right enabling environment frameworks, we can transcend barriers and bring more innovative businesses to our shores. Distinguished guests, this now brings me specifically to talk on our fintech offering. I know that Michael has talked extensively on this, but just to remind you all that the introduction of the regulatory Sandbox license for innovative activities signified a defining moment in the fintech industry. The Sandbox license is administered under the authority of the Economic Development Board, and most of the applications submitted to us are in the fintech nature. The National Regulatory Sandbox License Committee brings together policymakers and regulators, including the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Financial Services, the Bank of Mauritius, the Financial Services Commission, the Economic Development Board, and the Attorney General's Office. It is noteworthy that the Nrsl Committee has been reconstituted in November last year under the chairmanship of Lord Anthony St. John of Bledsoe of the House of Lords. The new Nrsl Committee has met twice, notably in June and October this year, with a view to consider applications made under the RSL for fintech activities. Since the setting up of the Nrsl Committee, 11 RSL permits approvals have been granted for a portfolio of diverse fintech projects, including initial coin offerings, cryptocurrency exchange platforms, digital wallets, crowdfunding platforms, and blockchain-enabled alternative securities platform, blockchain-based KYC systems, and robo-advisory wealth management platforms. In order to accelerate the country's move to an age of digitally enabled economic growth, and to have the ability to enhance the jurisdiction competitiveness, the FSC issued in August 2020 the Financial Services Peer-to-Peer Lending Rules 2020. The FSC has also issued the guidance notes on the security token trading system in June 2020 to provide for the implementation of a common set of standards for the licensing of security token trading system in Mauritius. Beyond all doubt, the evolution of fintech is set to soar in the coming years. Of course, apart from the learning curve and the iterative process, we are proceeding cautiously, and at times I know there are fine-tuning required and facilitation with the regulators to be fully aligned, because not always the regulator is more conservative and the operators are aligned in terms of the business imperatives and what is required. So it takes some time for us, and I must say that in the committees that we have, there's a lot of intensive discussions about how we should go about. But let me just reassure you that at the level of EDB, what we want is really that innovation can drive productivity growth, that we bring to Mauritius businesses that would go to other places. I know we are live streaming this workshop, and other countries also are watching us. But my message this morning is that we are here to support, and for us, fintech, innovation, digital strategy remains key for the EDB, for this country to prosper and to grow. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish the association the very best in its endeavors, and I also look forward to engaging discussions and plenty of success in the future. And I wish Michael and all the team the very best luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you much, Ken. Ladies and gentlemen, regulation is always a topic everybody talks a lot about. Whether you're in the UK having a chat with the FCA, or in Singapore having a chat with the MAS, or any other regulators out there, you know, there's a fine line between regulation, which is supposed to be there to provide safety in the financial system, versus innovation that traditionally is there to break it. Okay, so those kind of discussions, I think, need to happen. I think the fact that the EDB and the Mauritian entities are willing to have the conversations to understand the technology, or even the new business models that didn't exist 3 or 4 years ago, I think it shows the steps in the right direction are being taken. Which leads us on to the second element, which is kind of the unveiling of the first draft of the 2020 FinTech report, which we're going to be sharing with everyone in the next coming weeks. But I think it's important just to give you a little bit of backstory about why we did this. So in an ecosystem or environment for everybody to benefit, we need to have a free flow of information. Information needs to be available to everyone equally, no matter where you are, whether you're a small business on the side of the road, or an entrepreneur, or an investor. You need to have access to the right information, the same information, and the correct information to be able to make the right decisions going forward. So when we started this journey in 2019, the very first step for us was to demystify this space, this fintech space, the space that was talked a lot about, but there was not a lot of information available digitally of what this ecosystem looks like. So we took the first step. We engaged with a whole wide range of stakeholders. And to this day, still, the 15th of August last year is my proudest moment. I know I said it last year, but seeing stakeholders or employees from competing banks, competing companies, sitting down, working together, putting aside their ideas, their notions of ego or whatever, sitting down for the benefit of the country is what we are aiming towards. Let's have those open discussions. You know, it's not about working in silos. The future of technology is all about collaboration. How do we work together so that we halve our input costs and double our outcomes by working together? So that was kind of the little backstory around the 2019 report. The 2020 report, we decided to go a little bit deeper. And we decided to go, well, let's look at all the feedback from the ecosystem and let's put together a 4-part series or surveys or reports over the next 12 months so we get some real concrete data on the ground. So the first one today, which we're going to be showcasing, is going to be around the ease of doing business. But later on, we want to get some tangible numbers. If we are being serious about this as an industry and a sector and growing this industry and sector, what do numbers look like on the ground? How many jobs are there available? How many people have jobs in this sector? How many startups are there? How many of them are foreign? What is the reason for them choosing Mauritius as opposed to somewhere else, so that we are better able to adjust our strategies moving forward, so we are able to attract the companies from abroad, while at the same time stimulating innovations from the local environment, from a university perspective, from a startup perspective, and then let's have the real discussions about that going forward. So a big thank you from a personal perspective for PwC, who have been on us. That sounds a little bit dodgy. Considering I know Dia well, I do apologize, who have been with us on this journey for the last 15 months, and who have kindly offered to provide these services to us for free. And I think it kind of showcases the commitment that an organization such as PwC has to the ecosystem, that are willing to put resources behind and give back to the ecosystem so that everybody can benefit from that report. So without further ado, and without me being on Dia, but rather introducing Dia from PwC to come up and just to unveil the report from her perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Morning, everybody. Thank you for the lovely introduction. My name is Dia, and Michelle likes to say Dia, 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 and you know. Okay, fine. Happy birthday, MAFH. Happy birthday. And you see the rocket there? If we liked it, what's going to happen, you know, right? So, second anniversary of MAFH. We're very proud to be here with the team presenting this survey. Last year, for those of you who were in the crowd with us, if you remember, we had said that for us to be able to do something for the fintech industry, we actually need to be able to understand what the industry is comprised of, firstly, and then measure it, report on it, and then act on it, right? So I think the survey today, could you please change it, please? Merci. Okay, so the survey today aims to kind of report on the progress that we've done over the last year, and I would take you through it, but revealing essentially the progress over 2019, the evolution of the fintech ecosystem. You would see it yourself because you were here with me last year, how the results were, you know it, and also the challenges faced by the challenges. Can I get them? Okay.
I have one I can lend you if you want. Let me check.
Is it already working on my slides? I think I need to...
Yes, it works. Next year, previous year. But it's fine.
And...
It works.
No, ça va.
Voilà, super.
Okay, yes. So challenges face, attractiveness of Mauritius. And of course, let us not forget the impact of COVID-19 onto fintechs, what happened to it, and is there any progress, have they faced challenges, etc. And on the right of the screen, like you would see, these are the spotlights of the survey, specific things that we looked at when we talked about ease of doing business. Donc, business registration licenses, I don't know how many regulations, opening of bank account, access to funding, talent and skills, and, COVID-19 opportunities. The survey was run in the month of September 2019. We tried to extend it, of course, but yeah, we had to report on the 22nd of October, donc, yeah. Okay, alors, in terms of demography of respondents, like we mentioned to you, last time it was to understand the ecosystem, what it is all about, who are the players in there. This year we extended the survey to even a broader set of stakeholders, to include banks and BFIs, non-banking financial institutions, to include corporates as well as technological... Donc 140 respondents, a bit similar to, sorry, it looks like I'm shooting. Right. The academia as well, and of course 50% of the respondents were from the fintech industry or startups. Just for you to see that a bit. We had investors as well, yes, this year. What was important for us is to understand their perspective, what makes an interesting project from them, from an investment or access to funding perspective. So this is why they were covered purposefully. Respondents profile, bon, this is, I'm very proud to say this because last year we had, when we look at the figures, we had a lot of companies in the concept and seed stage, if you remember. Well, this year we progressed across the curve. You would see that the growth stage has actually seen a 100% increase from last year. So I think you all need a clap for that. Please clap for yourself. Yeah. So this means what? This means that fintechs are growing in Mauritius and they're actually evolving into a mature stage. Yeah, over the last 12 months for us to be able to do that, I mean, even for the players in the industry to be able to do that, it's a big thing. And average turnover of employees is still revolving around 5 million, which of course we hope to see increasing to the next bracket next year. And number of employees is still around, headcount is still around 10. Pardon, yeah. Quickly on the figures. Now, in terms of the landscape, donc, Mauritius Africa FinTech Hub, what the organization or the association wants to do is to attract FinTech operators in Mauritius so that you can serve markets regionally, Africa, Australasia, wherever. But we won't become the hub in Mauritius. So what we've observed, and again, which makes me very proud to say, is that most of the fintech operators in Mauritius are actually serving the African market, with 31% even going global and 30% serving the local market. Essentially, those markets are B2B, so segmentation is essentially B2B. We all know today that fintech is working and thriving, I would say, in the B2B segment rather than the B2C segment. Okay, fields of play, the heroes of last year were blockchain, payments, and banking solution. The superheroes of this year, payment solutions, data analytics, and AI. Donc most of, can you hear me? Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Ouais. AI. At the back? Ouais. Top. Merci. So in 2020, payment solution took a surge, and they're actually serving globally as well as regionally. In terms of business registration and licenses, I would say not much difference from last year. We're still having the 4 to 10 days kind of timelines. Pardon pour ça. In terms of RSL, yes. There are some, we've seen a poor adoption, let's say, of RSL right now because of certain challenges that are there. But I've been made to understand that there's humongous progress and humongous actions being taken on this so that this percentage actually, if I may comment, or if I may say, is going to see a 180-degree shift next year when we do the survey, right? Yeah, we'll see it next year, but our actions are happening in that direction, so which is good. So things that we should be considering probably which would facilitate the life of our startups would be one-stop shop, awareness, communication, service levels, EKYC, digital signatures. We all knew about this, and we need to act on it now that we've got the findings or the respondents telling us about it. Opening a corporate bank account or a fintech bank account, the time frame is still more or less the same. Well, feedback, qualitative feedback.
1 year.
Sorry, I have to be here. Okay, some qualitative feedbacks, time-consuming, old-fashioned, and tedious KYC. Of course, We do understand the compliance and regulatory framework that needs to be adhered to, but probably we could still, we feel that there are still areas for improvement without undermining any compliance or regulatory needs. And what is also good is that there's a huge penetration of internet and online banking. I think especially post-COVID, this is something that is now our new way of working. Donc this is in terms of opening of bank account, attractiveness of merchants. Donc, I think what was also important this year is to get the feedback from our startups as to what would make a jurisdiction attractive. Let us not talk about merchants. Let's talk about a jurisdiction, a country in itself, or a city. What needs to happen in there for it to be attractive? So our respondents said, you need to have a favorable regulatory environment. We should be able to obtain our permits and licenses easily, and you need to have a skilled labor force, amongst the others. So the next one in line is data privacy and security concerns, but the top three are these ones. So tomorrow, if we want to differentiate ourselves as a jurisdiction, these are the areas that we should be focusing on so that we attract who we want to attract as players in the country. Okay? Donc this is what they feel is required. In terms of where we are as a country and where we need to focus on, well, respondents have told us that labs and incubators would help them a lot to progress and to prosper, and also to go beyond that turnover of 5 million rupees or 10 employees. Data privacy and security concerns at a national level. Skilled labor force, again, if we don't have the resources, how will they increase their headcounts from 10 to 20 or 50 if we don't even have the resources to support? So working with academia, and of course, probably one of the next releases of the association survey is going to be around talent and skill, right, with academia. Like we discussed, it should be an open discussion with academia as well as with regulators. How do we improve? How do we enhance? How do we make things happen for us so that this pillar actually grows to be one of a very strong contributor to the economy? Donc, regulatory environment is in there, and of course, ease of obtaining licenses and permits is also there. Donc, if we focus on this, probably we could be among the top 10 in Africa. And of course, similar economies to our size, probably. So if we focus on this, we could be in the top 100 or top 10 list. Okay. COVID-19. What changed with COVID-19? When we asked our respondents, they said that 70% of them had to reconfigure their products. Yeah? While a few struggled in that transition during COVID, most of them actually sailed quite smoothly, which means that our fintechs are agile and they're adapting to the needs of the market and they're evolving accordingly. Now, continuing on that same positive note, okay. Your point. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. 25% experience an increase in demand, and 22% launched new products, which is very interesting. So things moved in the fintech space. And it's working better now after I fell down. 16% increased, said that with COVID, they've increased the resiliency of their business model. And of course, they're able to respond faster to market. But not everything is rosy, of course, with COVID. There are still some challenges that we have to overcome. Yes, we all know what we've been through, tough phase in the last couple of months, I would say. Greater legal and compliance risk, increased price competition, price wars, greater information and security privacy threats, because everybody was, we all know that the world was exposed to more cybersecurity and privacy risks during COVID for certain reasons that, again, we all know. Faster transition to subscription model and loss of market share. Few of them, but I think still it's there. It's still to consider and dig deeper to understand why. Okay, last part of my presentation today is on access to funding. So we talked to investors like we shared with you, and those fintechs were in the room today. Listen up. What would be your checklist to get funding, to get access to funding? Firstly, how unique is your product? How different are you from the market? How interesting is your offering from that of competitors? Yes, the payment solutions is the superhero of the last year, let's say, but how different are they, and what is so attractive about each and every one of you that would actually, make people want to invest? Of course, is it marketable? Do you have the market? Do you have the market size? Will that market grow? And do you have the right hands and brain to support you in that journey? This is a concern of investors. Do you have the right brains and hands to support you as you grow from seed to concept and to growth stage? And lastly, what is your exit strategy? What is their exit strategy if something happens? The concern is not that high. Donc, I think the major ones are, how different are you? Okay? With this, this closes my presentation, and those impressive slides that you have seen today is due to the hard work of my team here, Vassine and Elodie. If you could stand up and everybody clap for you, because I don't think I would have been able to do it without them. We are running everywhere every day. Donc, I have a wonderful team who's supporting me, and MAFH team, of course, Benazir, Ishal, and everybody else. Thank you, and we look forward to next year's survey. Merci.
Thank you. I thought this would be the appropriate time to share a little story with you. A couple of years ago, I was in the UK, in London, and I've popped into Google HQ, and you think to yourself, oh, it's a tech company. They must know. They must get their stuff right. Let me tell you, it took 20 minutes for them to find an HDMI cable to get their laptop to work, their projector to work. So as much as we love technology, and we're obviously discussing technology here today, I think there obviously are some challenges when it comes to adoption, usage, etc. But ladies and gentlemen, everything has its challenges. Right? The adoption of cash, when it was first physical cash, when it was first introduced, it must have gone through. I can promise you now, there were hurdles at the adoption stage or the early stage of that new innovative concept back in the day. So there's always going to be challenges with technology, but obviously then the idea is how do we overcome that? How do we use those challenges as opportunities, and how do we collectively evolve and be part of this digital economy moving forward? So thank you much to PwC and DIA for that. Our next section for today is just sharing some stories from some of the people who are there on the ground. Two of our participants on the stage today are entrepreneurs, startups working in the fintech environment. And not to the other side of the coin is MCB, which is obviously a massive financial industry player. But I think for me, it's and you're seeing this in Asia and you're seeing this more in Africa. It's not about a David versus Goliath story anymore. You know, the evolution of financial services is changing. There's a lot more realization across the globe that the various stakeholders need each other in order to adapt to the ever-changing, fast and ever-changing environment in the financial services space. So we've actually brought three individuals on, three rock stars, as we like to call them internally, who'll be joining us on stage very shortly, just to give some of their experiences when it comes to fintech, maybe some of their challenges, maybe some of their viewpoints around what the future looks like for their respective industries and companies going forward. So if I may welcome on stage Vincent from MCB, Sebastian from Crazy Land, and Paul from Fundkiss, who'll be joining us today.
Thank you.
Just a little backstory. The first day I met Sebastian, I looked at him and I knew he was the right kind of fit of family for a fintech hub to have. So he decided to take the plunge and joined us very recently. So the format today, guys and ladies and gentlemen, is really just about sharing your experiences about the space. Not about MAFH or what we do. It's about personal stories, how they've overcome some of their challenges or some of the opportunities that exist, and how they can work together in order to make sure that the digitization process happens, nobody gets left behind, and it becomes a win for everybody on the ground to utilize these new innovations and technologies. So I'm going to start off and hand over the mic to Vincent from MCB. If you'd like to start us off, sir.
Hello. So as you know, MCB is a fintech, financial technology. I'm very happy to be here. I think we joined MAFH not long ago. It's quite refreshing. I think, as you will see, we want to be part of this ecosystem. I think the key here is really ecosystem. So the bank is a component, the authorities, the central bank, everyone should work together with the kind of co-petition from you should go and have have a look at his video. It's quite enlightening. Just to get you a bit of the context, so MCB, so I won't tell you who we are, but we have 3 pillars in our development, extending our frontier. MCB is doing half of its business abroad, so it's quite important for us. Nurture our value and deliver on a brand promise, and the middle one is deliver a world-class customer experience through digital. It's a bit long, but what that says is we want to be at par with our European, US, or Asian colleagues to really have cutting-edge technology and integrate in the ecosystem the way they do. We have 4 measures. One is customer. We want to have leaner things for the customer, opening the account quicker, get some money from the loan quicker, doing payment quicker, and in a more seamless manner. Employees, it's quite administrative, so sometimes employees are not very engaged. So we want to transform the way we're working so that people are actually feeling more engaged. And obviously there is a bit of money, but to actually spare some rupees, though we have a very good cost-income ratio, so that's not the main target of the transformation. And the other one is digital maturity. So we have that DQ survey where we interview all the leaders in the bank to see how digital they are. So the conduct for that is not far from here. We set up the digital factory. Digital factory, as you see, it's not very much like the other offices of the bank. There's no uniform. And it's really about agile and customer-centric. So what we're using is using the methodology that's quite new for the bank. I know for startup it's not new, but to put people from technology, from the business together in a conducive environment. Just to give you a feeling, so I say no uniform. You can see that there are no uniforms. And it's quite a young team. We have 70% of MCB staff. So it's very important for us because that means that when we started, we were not very sure whether we would recruit internally people, but we did. The ratio of similar kind of initiatives in other banks have been more the 80-20, but in the other way, 80% of people from outside and 20% from inside. And so we're quite proud of that. And we have a bunch of nationalities. Obviously now with COVID, people are working also remotely from South Africa and India mostly, but also from other parts of the world. We have an Australian, we have a Jamaican, we have like all sorts. So what did we do today up until now? We are changing the way we're working. I think that's one of the key things. And changing the way we're working is very important to engage with external partners, such as FinTech, because otherwise you go into an office and then you go down the common chain. Here it's much more kind of collaborative. So the culture thing is really the key for us for this initiative. So the ecosystem we had InnoVap. InnoVap was to lock techies in our Saint-Jean office for a weekend with food. Obviously with COVID, we don't do that anymore. We're going more to, we had a virtual developer conference, but it was a success. I mean, many people connected, and so we want to be part of this ecosystem as it was introduced both on the academia side, on the development community, and on the fintechs as well. Oops, went a bit too quick. It's okay. But I mean, we're quite serious in organizing things and being part of it. It's also good for all people because they're getting into the challenge of these crackathons and the like, and it's also a motivation for them. Two things I wanted to mention. So we have a lot of product going out of the factory and out of this kind of ecosystem in general. But one thing we're working on right now is open banking. So open banking is basically being able to interface with the bank with APIs. We are starting with our friends here. Yeah. And basically, the bank is interconnected to the existing networks internally, also to the new networks such as the IPS. But the idea is to do one connection and facilitate the integration. That's true for merchants, that's true for fintech, and we're very serious about that. I don't think we will be going into the direction of having a collection of APIs that anybody can use from a Google map to whatever, but more specifically on payments and on lending, I think there is a strong use case. And when I talk to some fintech around, it's really, there is a big appetite for that. The second thing, I think that was mentioned by the EDB, I think it's opening a bank account for fintech is a problem because, I mean, regulations are there. Obviously, you have anti-money laundering, which is very high on the agenda. We should be very careful, especially in the current context. But the idea is to simplify that. Obviously, there is quite a bit of admin in the bank. And we have a team now. It's a full-fledged team, which is working on eKYC. So not only on all these techniques, etc., but basically to implement an eKYC portal. So both for individuals and corporate, to being able to do our duty in terms of due diligence, but in a kind of a smooth way. And then there is the digital signature. There is a lot of wet signature. Digital signature, I think it was introduced before, it's not about scanning a wet signature, but it's all about PKIs and stuff like that. So these are two things we are serious about, and I think I'll be happy to have some contacts with you guys from the community, because open banking and these things are very important to smoothen the ecosystem. Just wanted to introduce to you the SME. So SME is small and medium enterprise, business banking. We set up a tribe. So tribe is the new term for business unit, but it's more trendy. But really, what is the difference is we had some squads developing products from the digital factory, and now we put them back into the business, together with sales and operations. They're in Harbourfront. Some of them will be here today. We've been delivering two things. First is to open the account in a quicker way, hopefully. It's still things debugging and the like, but I think it's being quicker, and I think that's a real need from the SME. And the second thing is, we launched Juice Pro. So Juice Pro is the same as Juice, but Pro. It's a new technology, and it's an MVP. So MVP meaning that there are not a lot of functionalities on it right now, but it's growing because we're building, and we chose this segment because there was no mobile app there, and we wanted to start with something. And right now, there are, like every month, new things coming in. We'll be integrating with the payments. We can integrate with many different technologies, and we believe that for the SME segment, it's mobile first. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Couple of key takeaways from me from that side. Firstly, for those of you watching live who don't know who MCB is one of the largest banks in Mauritius. Secondly, just in terms of the evolution and the mindset of as globally we call the banks incumbents, the fact that the mindset is changing. I mean, 10 years ago, if you mentioned the word tribe, probably at MCB, you might have been shot for being a little bit innovative. But I think it's important to highlight the journey that these large institutions are going through themselves. I mean, if you look at it from a global perspective, there were banks that have been around for 200-300 years that don't exist anymore, and our banks are around for the last 6 years and have market caps bigger, or fifth, sixth largest banks with no branches. So it's important to be part of this journey, ladies and gentlemen, and the fact that organizations such as MCB and some of our members, RBL, HMT, are going through this process, realizing that the digitalization aspect and technology are changing their business models going forward. So you've got to be part of that journey. So thank you much, Vincent, for your feedback. Moving on to our crazy element moving forward, I would like to introduce you to Sebastian from MIPS, and he will give us a little bit of an overview of his journey.
Yes, I think I must say thank you. Because the introduction was really... Lisa, yes. It's crashed. Okay, I make a belly dancing if you want. Yes, hello. So while Lisa is uncrashing the computer, I'm Sébastien Leblanc from MIPS, and I'm supposed, so Michel gave me a double challenge today. First, to present our 5 last years' journey in 8 minutes. That was the first challenge. The second challenge, he told me, Sébastien, if you say only one French word, you are fired. I must present it in English. And the first one who is laughing here, I continue in French. So please bear with my English. Is the computer uncrashed, Lisa? Oh, there's a lot of specialists in front of it. Close Far Cry and... yeah, this one, this blue thing. There, you see? You're trying. Press on escape. This, click on this, là, there. This thing, là. Now you click this thing. Click there. You will see there, là. Là. Don't worry, I take control. Am I taking control? I am taking control of nothing. Yes, it's working. Thank you. So I already said thank you. Yes, with the microphone, yes. Big, nice voice. Okay, so MIPS, let us start. 8 minutes, go. MIPS stands for Mauritius. We are in Mauritius, that's nice. Internet Payment System. But that's a lie. It's no more Mauritius, it's multiple. Why is it? I will come here. There's plenty of people in front of my thing, so it's not working. Why multiple? Why Mauritius Internet Payment System became multiple Internet Payment System? Because 5 years ago, our ambition, our own humble ambition, were limited to here only. Then surfing the waves of opportunity. Hey, Michel, that's nice, huh? But I found it myself, huh? This wedding. Hein? Surfant l'opportunité. We went there in Madagascar, so we are also present in Madagascar. Then we got, so okay, it's Rodrigue, it's Mauritius, but okay, it's another country, it's Rodrigue aussi. Alors, there, then we went there, and okay, checklist, what country is it? Allez, Seychelles. Then we went there, what is it? Maldives, well done. And now, our eye, so I didn't know this expression, Michal, it was Travis here, my Safi employee, our eye is on this big body here. So yes, someone here, I don't know, Dia, you were speaking about Mauritius going to Africa. Yes, we want to go there. Not everywhere, but part of it, okay? Okay, now, okay, let us go back. Now you have the answer why Mauritius became multiple. We're saved by the M, Mauritius and multiple, because we are going now into Africa. But please keep in mind that MIPS remains Mauritian. We are going into Africa, but we remain Mauritians, and we are proud of it to remain Mauritian. I am Mauritian. I am, yes. I am Mauritian. I affirm you. Especially that we are now also made in Maurice. No solution to translate this. This is a trademark, Michel. Maurice, I can't say made in Mauritius. Huh? It's not made in China here. It's a made in Maurice brand. So we are now made in Maurice. Now I will try to explain in 30 seconds what do we do. Payment. No, we are not a payment gateway. No, we are not only e-payments. We are in payment ecosystem. And no, I won't explain now what is a payment ecosystem because I have only 8 minutes. And I am here to explain my journey. But we connect worlds of a merchant. And do you see this little Vincent just behind you there? This little red here. Notice the S, the worlds of a merchant. Because a merchant is equipped with worlds of equipment. It has departments, software, etc., etc. The worlds of a merchant. Yes, okay. With the act of payment as the gravity center of all its departments and operational software. Michal, I did not wrote this sentence. Travis did, okay? Too complex for my English. Next, and there's something next. Okay, but where did this all begin? Now we are explaining our journey, Mauritian fintech journey in Mauritius, in paradise. Let us see if it is really paradise for fintechs. It is becoming, yes, Black Musabar. In the beginning of time, well, at least for MIPS Universe in 2015. I won't go at the beginning of time, you know, it's a little bit, I'm not sure that internet existed at Adam and Eve period, but well, there was no light. Oh. And everything was, well, difficult. You know, you see this guy? This guy is not new, Vincent. But it is the establishment, the Mauritian establishment. What is this stuff? Who is this? Well, Michel, who is this crazy guy? What are these crazy things? I don't understand. Silly things. Then came 2016. Well, things were still difficult in 2016 because this guy, he changed his mindset. Yes, mindset changed. Now he's no more saying what is this stuff. He's saying that, okay, this stuff is ridiculous. This is ridiculous what you are saying, crazy guy. Okay? Let us remain serious in this serious finance world with a big voice like that. Serious work, okay. Now, Michel, if I'm to, you say me if you want me to be more serious. Huh? 2 minutes remaining, oh my God, 2017, there. Everything changed. It became even more difficult. This guy, now he said, no. Now I understand. These guys seem to take too much place in our finance world. Too dangerous. More different. First we were ridiculous, then we were dangerous. Now what are we? In 2018, we began to make our little place within some merchants' world. We launched some cool features for hotels, retailers. Then we targeted some other line of business, and therefore annoying other establishment people, software distributors like agency. These guys seem dangerous for us too, you know, booking engine. If you ask at a hotel what is MIPS, he will say you, oh, it's a booking engine, it's a channel manager. No, we are not. No, we are not a payment gateway. We are not that. We are just crazy guys. We are. No, seriously, we are not this. And we felt small. We felt really small with pure players handling little MIPS in their old historical hands. Little MIPS here. Yeah. Look at this. There, we are there. And I thought, and my wife is there, who is my associate also. We felt small together. What will we do? We are in finance world and so pure players. Look at those big guys here, big buddies. What will we do? Then what happened? 2019 came. We are in 2020, yeah, correct? So we realized that the world of entities, financial, merchants, software providers, etc., we were trying to discuss with and to connect together, was unreal. This world does not exist. This is a matrix. No, not it. It was unreal. I will explain myself. This world of entities for us was completely virtual and irrelevant. The only real success factor was, please, human-to-human interactions. Humans being the only real, precise, clearly defined doers within the virtual boxes of their companies. I realized this in 2019. Speaking to MCB is a nonsense. Speaking to, what is your company? It's nonsense. I'm speaking to DIA. I'm not speaking to PwC. It means nothing speaking to PwC. People change, are fired, go away. Fired, especially these times. So yes, our job is to speak with real people in virtual boxes. And the real challenge being to, Vincent, find the good willing ones. The guy who say, this guy, for example, hey, I have an idea to make this better. And important, to avoid the others, to avoid these guys saying this is impossible, or I don't know which one is the worst, or this guy, isn't it time to go home? I don't know which is the 1 minute remaining. Michel, okay, I'm going faster. Then came 2020. Finally, we are there. We've connected dots with a more difficult, not in English, let me concentrate. With a more harmonious communication between players of this ecosystem. Did it well? Thank you. Okay, with everybody playing at same level, I say not over, not under, same level, more and more together. Together, you have a trendy word, together. But now I want it not to be just a marketing word, but a real word. Thank you for preparing this, Dia. Helped by enablers like, and this is publicity for you, free adverts for you, Michel. It's for free. I make it for free. Nothing to pay me. Mauritius Africa Fintech Hub. Another enabler. Made in Maurice. Yes, these guys are making really good things. I don't know the word for Mauritius right now. Whoop! I make the noise with my mouth. We are now able and proud to say that we are now an established, this word, Travis, why did you put this word? I don't like this word. Well, we are an established Mauritian fintech companies enabling cool stuff like recently we launched, perhaps you saw it on social networks, smart commerce. My minute is over, but give me 30 seconds, please, Michel. Smart commerce, AirPay is a technology we launched recently. Telpay, it's a technology we launched recently. And finally, it's there, the PayStation 2 is one of the example of what we are launching in Mauritius, the PayStation 2. What can it do, the PayStation 2? Well, it doesn't do coffee, but it can do, okay, classical chip and pin. Okay, you know the card, you put it and you type with a dirty finger with COVID finger on this chip. But you can do also this contactless payment, of course. But contactless, when you're above 2,500 rupees, you must put your pin on this dirty COVID things. But hey, what about this? Pay with your NFC bracelet. There will be downstairs, a movie explaining that on a little screen. We don't have enough money to have a big screen, but we have a little screen. You will see it on the little screen. Pay with your phone on this machine. 4th feature. Another feature, hey, pay with Telpay. You put your phone number, payment is made. This machine can make it too. And now, what is this? It's a COVID, okay, sanitary mode, yes. Because we also made a technology when you can pay with, real contactless and identification and authentication. You don't touch the device, neither for identification, neither for authentication. You just authentify yourself by, you'll see by watching the movie. It's not the purpose here. Well, have a look at smart commerce. I make my publicity now, and I am finishing in next slide, Michal. That means blah, 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 blah. And look at it, Michal. Thanks. I finished.
Alrighty. Big thank you to Sebastian. I think I would like to put this on record, and our legal team, we are about to change our application process and our screening process for becoming a member. We should include psychologists. I saw one here a little bit earlier, but thank you very much, Sebastian, for sharing the story with us. And for us, welcome to my day-to-day. Imagine having 40 of these people running around, but the beauty of the entire model and a model of an ecosystem is imagine him bouncing into an individual like that, Vincent bumping into him, them having a discussion in a corridor that leads to changes for people, the way that people move money, interact with money on the ground. Okay? And this is the beauty of the ecosystem. If we get this right, if everybody works together, this is what we can achieve. Not this guy, because this guy's past saving, but the solutions and no, we actually encourage craziness at the Hub. So thank you very much for sharing your story. And now we're going to bring it down a notch a little bit to hyper level. We're going to have a third story, sharing from Paul, who is probably one of the very few people that when I leave the office at 9:30, he's still sitting there working on it. And I think it's unsung heroes and entrepreneurs that work 20-hour days to make sure that the businesses happen. That at the end of the day, they sacrifice a lot to bring the solutions to market, to provide their technology, their service or products. And I think hearing his story coming through and sharing it with everybody, the challenges and some of the successes that they've had over the last little while.
Okay, thanks. It will be difficult to come after the Sebastian show, but PayStation, it's a great name, and I look forward for the PayStation 3. So yes, Fundkiss. Now, just to reflect on MIPS journey, there are a lot of similarities. 5 years where you were and where you are today. So for everyone in the room starting their startup journey or being in bigger organization, launching projects, it does take time, but things happen with hard work, creativity, and faith in what you're doing. So Fundkiss. Fundkiss, I will do the usual presentation I do. It's the first dating app in Mauritius, but it's not a dating app for people. It's a dating app between investors and Mauritian SMEs. So, and if you ask me why Fundkiss, it's fund for funding and Kiss for keep it simple and smart, because what we want to revolutionize in a way, it's the lending experience for SMEs to make it very, next slide, yes. Our vision is to simplify and democratize the lending experience for SMEs in Mauritius and beyond, and also for the investors to give them, to allow them to have a new experience as well, because today, from your smartphone, from your tablet, from your couch, you can start lending directly to a Mauritian SME. So why we are here? We are here because SMEs, like everywhere in the world, are struggling to get finance. There are 20 banks in Mauritius. It's an ecosystem which is well bankerized, but yet every year you will hear these SMEs complain about their access to finance. So this is why we decided to launch Fundkiss 4 years ago, and we see the market potential is big. Only for last year, we had banks only, I'm speaking about banks only and not the other financial institutions. They made about 1.5 billion loans to SMEs. Only 800 SMEs obtained these loans. In Mauritius, based on official statistics, you have 138,000 SMEs. So the market potential, the need is there, and this is where it's in this gap that we want to expand in Mauritius. Next slide, please. So it's been a journey. It's been a long journey. It has not been a walk in the park. But if there can be two words that summarize our journey so far, it will be timing and collaboration. Michel spoke about collaboration, Vincent, Sébastien. Collaboration is key there. But for us, also the timing was critical. When we had the idea at the very beginning, in early 2016, it came from a radio show we were listening with some friends. I spoke the next day, I think, I spoke to Fabrice, who at the same time was launching Turbine. So we had the opportunity to go to an incubator to pitch our idea. Then, when we finished, we say what we do. There's no legal framework. Where do we go? The government of Mauritius, in the budget in 2016, announced the launch of a regulatory Sandbox license. This is the game changer, because it gives us the regulatory framework, the legal framework to be able to operate. Because otherwise, crowd lending, peer-to-peer lending does not exist. Then, once we obtain our license in 2017, so it takes us 1 year, we build our platform in a MVP, we finance 2 small projects, and we do a seed funding with a group of business angels. And 2019 is where we really start. We have completed this seed funding, and we can move full-time in our business. And this is where Mauritius Africa Fintech Hub is created. So we become a member. Then behind, we have the African Crowdfunding Association, which is created, and we become a member as well to have this continental dimension. And crowd lending is getting a lot of traction now on the continent. And this will allow us, if we want to expand afterwards, to leverage on this association. After this, we come to 2020, collaboration again. We collaborate with a company here called Strategic Insight Group. They are specialized in credit rating and risk management. This collaboration is to give us more power to be able to analyze more applications and to do volumes and to be able to scale up. We sign also, the COVID also comes in, so we are all locked down. We can showcase the utility, the usefulness of our, and the potential of our solution. And in the budget in 2020, a couple of months ago, the Ministry of Finance has announced that crowdlending, so the activity we have been doing over the last 18 months, had been identified as a new mechanism to boost SME financing in Mauritius. So, following this, we signed a collaboration, an MOU with SME Equity Fund, whereby they will invest they will take 10% of every project put online to a maximum of 100,000 per project. And what is SME Equity Fund? It's the first institutional investor which is lending on the projects alongside our retail investors, individual investors. SME Equity Fund, it's also a partnership, a collaboration between the government of Mauritius and some public institutions and the commercial banks of Mauritius. So we are already starting this collaboration with the banks, the commercial banks. No, j'ai pas fini le dialogue, merci. Then, in August, mid-August, the FSC has gazetted the peer-to-peer lending rules, which was very much anticipated. We are submitting our application this afternoon. So we look forward to graduate from the RSL and become a full-fledged P2P licensee in Mauritius. So this again, it will bring us in another dimension and open up more possibilities for us and collaborations with additional institutional investors to be able to serve better the SMEs in Mauritius. So we started also small. Our first year, 2019, we did 5.5 million. Last year, financial year, 30th of June, we do 24, and the objective for next year is to do 70, 160, and 350. That's our plan. And again, the potential of the market, SME lending, is 50 billion. So it's huge. There's a huge market, and there's place for all the players, be it traditional financial institutions and new platforms and fintechs. Okay, thanks. So to conclude, I interact a lot through the incubators with a lot of people who want to launch their startups, who want to create something. And I found this quote last time. It's a question, actually. What impact do you want your startup to make on the world? And I think when you are a startup, you have a superpower because you can change the world. At our level, very low level, we are also changing the way the economy, the entrepreneurs, the SMEs will finance themselves tomorrow. So you have, as a startupper, as an entrepreneur, this capacity, this ability to change the world, to create the world of tomorrow. So you need to work very hard for it, to have faith in what you are doing, and to collaborate with all the stakeholders of the ecosystem, because you have this opportunity to make the world a better place. So thank you.
Perfect. Hello. Thank you very much, Paul, for sharing for us. So two things for me that ring true with everybody that's shared their stories with us. I think collaboration and working together. You know, the mind shift is changing. The world is not what it used to be like, and you need to work with various industries and stakeholders in order to make this happen. And organizations such as Fundkiss, for example, you know, the ability for small businesses to secure or receive unsecured OPEX loans in order to just bridge the gap in their operational life cycle is a game changer. Leveraging the technology to be able to provide that service. I mean, I saw some projects raising, what, 500,000 rupees within a couple of minutes, right? You know, so that's the pace at which small businesses could raise money at. That, ladies and gentlemen, is impacting people's lives positively on the ground. Right? Because as a small business owner, and God knows I've been running my own businesses, when you go and sit in front of a more traditional bank or asking for money, you know, that process can take a long time. Now, with under 24 hours, you get a yes or no. Right? So this is the power that technology brings to the table, specifically to the financial technology space. And to end off, before I send you guys off and thank you for the services, I'd just like to share a little story with you and with everybody here today. So I heard a little interesting story that was mentioned around the hub the other day. And it was, funny enough, one of your clients, a 56-year-old female entrepreneur who applied for a loan. And she interacted with some members from Fundkiss, and they had a conversation, obviously, around digital and moving forward, to which case she used Juice for the first time. Okay, to make payments for her business, and it wasn't a small amount, it was quite a large amount. 56-year-old using a technology so that she didn't have to drive across the island to pay by cash. Okay, and that for me is a culmination of what all of these individuals, all of you, are doing in this space. So I'd just like to say thank you for your time, and we will carry on going forward. Thank you. Alrighty, for our next segment, we're supposed to have Noha from Egypt. Unfortunately, their internet connectivity is dodgier than ours, and she won't be able to join us. But basically, Noha, who's let me take it one step back. So the African Fintech Network, which Ken from the EDB mentioned, and which Noha is from as the vice chair, and Mauritius is represented on the board with other much larger jurisdictions. The African Fintech Network is an association of associations who represent the various countries and jurisdictions with the aim of not only building their own fintech ecosystems within their own countries, but on a much larger scale, how do we collaborate as Africa so that we are able to solve the challenges on the ground, but also at the same time showcase African innovations to the rest of the world. Okay? And that for me is why Mauritius took the step of applying for the African Fintech Network. At the moment, I think there's 34 or 35 countries represented. So that's nearly 60-70% of the continent is represented, with the aim of having all 54 countries being a part of this, to have a united voice when it comes to fintech, when it comes to regulation. Imagine being able to export your license or trade the next day in another jurisdiction, ability to move money cross-border, easier, quicker, faster. That is what the African Network, African Fintech Network is all about. So Noha, as the vice chair, was going to just give us a little bit of feedback around that, and the fact that also Mauritius was selected to host the 2020, unfortunately we had to move it, 2021 African Fintech Festival, which is going to be happening a little bit later in the year. So I just wanted to give you some context around it, because the ability for Africa to unite in an environment where, ladies and gentlemen, door to door, if one solution works in, for example, Uganda, Kampala, right next door neighbors, it might not work in Uganda. Or, sorry, Kampala is Uganda. Might not work right next door in a country like a DRC, for example. You know, we looked at M-Pesa, where it worked very successfully in Kenya, but when you move that kind of the same business model and structure to South Africa, not so much so, right? So in a diverse environment, I think it's important to have various associations who, by the way, are not for profit. There's no shareholders. There's no hidden agenda. We're mandated by our governments to build, consolidate, help, facilitate, and serve the ecosystem from a fintech perspective. Okay? And these discussions are ongoing. Hence, once again, our outward Africa strategy is how do we collaborate more? How do we work more with Nigerian startups? 206 million people, what a great market. Ethiopia, 103 million people, massive challenges on the ground, but a lot of opportunities on the ground. So being part of that now allows us, not only our members and the community and the stakeholders, to start leveraging the experience, sharing stories so that it benefits everyone on the ground. So from our side, unfortunately, Noha was not able to join us virtually. Once again, I can't wait to tell her how dodgy her internet is in Egypt. Just a little slight dig, country to country. And I'd just like to very quickly, because I'm very conscious of time and we promised you a quick turnaround time, give you a very quick snapshot of a little scorecard from our side, if it is available. Just to give you a bit of a how are we doing, what are our plans, and where do we see us going and working together into the future. So there we go. So slide 3 is where we're going to start. So from the onset, ladies and gentlemen, open collaboration and action. Those are the only two things that we follow with our members, with our communities, with other fintech associations. Talk is cheap. Okay? There's a lot of talk, not only locally, in Africa, all right? Across the world. Talk gets you nowhere at the end of the day without action. Talking is great, don't get me wrong, otherwise you can misconstrue that, but talking and then applying or doing things, executing on it is what we are all about. So if we go back a little bit, these are the two premises of everything from a MAFH perspective, from an Africa perspective, is how do we influence positively the environment that we operate in, so that a 20-year-old Ethiopian wanting to open up a business in Egypt or Mauritius or Rwanda can walk into those jurisdictions, build a POC or an MVP, and then take that solution, scale it back into the African continent, because they were able to raise the money in Africa to do that. And they have the support mechanisms in place in order to help them scale and grow their businesses. So from our side, this is kind of the ethos that we abide by. Once again, our role here is not to be the leader in this or do this. We, ladies and gentlemen, are the facilitator. You guys are the rock stars. We put you in the same table, and somehow we look good. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. You do all the work. Right? You start the conversations. You engage with the youth of this country, with the university students. We start introducing coding at schooling level. You know, how do we future-proof this environment to make sure that we're able to grow this industry and sector going forward? So in terms of the scorecard, I took a very light touch screen grab of these are qualitative achievements, if you will. I've put these three entities on here: VOMID, Strategic, Insight, and Change Matrix, because we ourselves are a startup. We're 2 years old today. We still classify as a startup, and in our entire 2-year history, we have never had 3 new members sign up in the last 13 hours. Okay? Now, here's a little insider information. We ourselves aren't geared to the volumes that we're receiving from a member application perspective, so we have to evolve, innovate, and solve those challenges ourselves as well. How do we internally ask, how do we make it a 3-click process from a UX and a UI perspective? How do we streamline this? So it's not that we are a startup and now we're cool, we're hip, we have the answers. That is not how life works. We have to change, we have to evolve, we have to adapt ourselves in a day-to-day environment, much like the banks are doing, the financial services are doing, the fintechs are doing day-to-day. And you are doing yourselves day to day. So we've got, this is just a very light touch snapshot. We've got a much more comprehensive report coming out later this year, obviously in collaboration with PwC and everything else on that side. And the last but not least is the African Fintech Festival. Okay, well anyway, I'll talk around it. Oh, calendar. Okay, sorry. I'm jumping on you. You have infected me, sir. I am all over the show at the moment. What is going on here? Okay. On a more serious note, so one thing we pride ourselves on is actually actively listening to the ecosystem. So one of the things we realized quite quickly, specifically during the COVID period, is people wanted more. They wanted more content, they wanted more interactions, they wanted more interactions with other jurisdictions, they wanted more information around regulation. So what we did is we said the time was right to launch a yearly calendar going forward. So the members, the ecosystems engaged with us and said, here's the need or the problem, and then let's work together in trying to address that need or problem at hand. So what we did is we put together a massive calendar where if you see these dates, ladies and gentlemen, if you had to attend all of these things, not only would you be single, but you would be very divorced, okay? And I think it's, from our perspective, it's opportunity. So our role is to put the buffet on the table for you, eat as much as you want, okay? We treat each other like adults here, all right? We're not going to chase you to attend events. If you want to come, cool. If you don't, it's your loss, okay? So from our perspective, that is how we treat our members, the ecosystem, and all the various stakeholders, is let's put the opportunity down. If you have any other challenges that we don't cover, engage with us. Not only join us from a membership perspective, but engage with and say, this is our problem statement. Let's work with other members in the ecosystem to solve that challenge so that it becomes a win-win situation going forward. So this is live, this is real time, this is 12 months planning in advance. So if you go online in the next 5 days, you'll be able to book your seats in an event sometime next year. And please, this is freely available, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, there's some for members only, etc. But our goal and purpose is to serve the ecosystem. And for that to happen is, imagine the university students arriving when they're doing finance, etc., and they're arriving and they're able to discuss blockchain or fintech or future of work or cybersecurity or whatever the knowledge sharing session is about. Let's make that freely available, because at the end of the day, it benefits everyone. So we've got a full calendar going forward. And last but not least, just to top it off, this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're aiming for. And I know Ken mentioned it a little bit earlier, which was one of our days. But we've pushed it out a little bit. And for us, it's not about having 2,000 people from all over the world here, decision makers, 200 to 300 fintechs from all over Africa, 60 to 70 VCs, private equity firms, and investors from all over the world coming to Mauritius to have a cool party. Okay? That is not what we're trying to do. By the way, we're turning Kudon into an entire fintech village. Okay, seriously, we're taking over this entire environment. Okay, so that's the scale that we want to go to work towards, and it wasn't done by us. Okay, through the African Fintech Network, we've engaged the other 34 African countries. They're buying into this vision. They want to be here, but for us as an organization, it's not just about having a cool party and having a lot of phoenixes. Okay, Phoenix is a beer, by the way, those of you listening online. Okay, it's about what happens next. Okay? Because what we're trying to address there is by giving a line of sight of fintech innovations in Africa to the rest of the world, magic can happen. Imagine if fintechs coming here from Senegal, South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, ability to raise $100 million from investors from the east or the west, that is a win for everyone. So the KPI for us is not how many hotel rooms we can fill, okay, or how many liters of Phoenix we can consume. The KPI is here, have we talked about the real challenges facing people on the ground? The regulators, has there been a regulation discussion between Rwanda, Mauritius, Egypt, Nigeria, Senegal, whichever country is here, okay, and part of this discussion. So that was what, for us, this is all about. Right? Bringing people together from all over Africa to discuss the opportunities, the challenges that exist on the continent, and then leveraging that and showcasing that to the rest of the world. So in light of that, we urge you to participate. It will be freely available to students, university students, and very light touch for everybody else. But we look forward to hopefully rolling it out. We were supposed to have it a little bit earlier this year. As Ken mentioned, we had a conversation with him around space, and our biggest problem in this year, before COVID hit, was whether Mauritius Airways had enough flights and whether we could accommodate the number of people that were going to come here. Okay, we weren't stressing about number of it, not enough numbers from attendees. We're worried about space. Okay, and that's a good problem to have. But once again, my call to action to you today is be part of the discussion. Join the movement, because technology impacts everybody's lives. And when we talk about fintech or financial technology, when we talk about biotech, edtech, insurtech, regtech, wealth tech, my God, everything's being smashed with a tech at the end of the day. Bottom line is, what is happening is the evolution of the way we work, where technology is assisting us in our day-to-day lives. So this has an impact of every single industry, whether you're in fishing, mining, financial services. The technology will impact you in some way and form. And let's keep it all in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Technology, the purpose of technology is for us to have more time with our humanity. And I think we shouldn't forget that message going forward. So thank you much for your time today. Thank you much for joining us. There will be a showcase downstairs, and there will also be an opportunity for a photo session. And as the French say, let them eat cake. Thank you much for your time.